You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me on another edition of Inside Automotive right here at cbtnews.com. Today we are joined by Joe Laham, who's president of Premier Companies, to share his thoughts on what's happening with tariffs across the country. Dealers are very concerned about it. Joe happens to be both a domestic dealer as well as a foreign nameplate. So thank you, Joe, for joining us on the show. Very much appreciated. This was kind of a last-minute thing you and I talked about over the weekend, so thanks for jumping on. As a dealer of both brands, domestic as well as foreign brands coming in, where do you stand on this whole thing? What are your concerns?
Well, good afternoon, Jim. There's definitely a lot of angst out there in the marketplace right now. I don't know if anybody really knows what's going to happen because we're all thinking, oh, is this just a negotiation tool? Is it really going to happen? And you know, Canada's coming back one way, Mexico's coming back another way. And
right.
Those are the two that really affect us. And as you know, BMW has plant Spartanburg, which is the single largest plant for BMW in the world, and it's right here in the States.
Right.
And they export more product from the U.S. out than anyone. They're the number one exporter. So you would think that they would have some, I guess, better opportunities than others, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like it's, you know, like we got a kamikaze pilot flying the plane. He's gonna crash no matter what happens. So
that's right. Well, as you know, I think we talked a little bit about this. I had the pleasure of interviewing Senator Bernie Moreno, who's a car guy, and he talked to me on Friday about the fact that, you know, even in the event that the other countries say, okay, uncle, we're not going to charge a tariff for your domestic products or your U.S. products coming into our country, and therefore you won't charge us, right? And he said, oh, no. We're still charging, you know, that tariff. We're still going to hit that product that comes into the country, even though the reciprocating country, you know, drops theirs, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I think that's completely opposite of what we all thought. We thought the reciprocity was what we were looking for. We thought, hey, it sounds good, right? If charging you 2%, you charge me 2%.
Right.
But from his interview, he gave you three basic ways that the cars are going to be taxed based on componentry, based on where they're manufactured. And I think it took us all for a step backwards. And quite frankly, I don't think Bernie would be singing that song if he still had his group of stores, would he?
I don't know. That would be interesting to see. That's for sure. So, so as a dealer today, is it just further confusion for you, or are you building strategies to deal with this when it hits on the 2nd?
What we did internally was say, let's not make any rash decisions. Let's get through the month. We've got inventory in stock. I think everyone has inventory in stock. A lot of the stores went a little bit crazy and started buying online on their manufacturers, you know, off-lease vehicles.
Yeah.
And they went crazy and drove prices way up.
Right.
And it's almost like, guys, this isn't COVID. Slow down. What are we doing here?
Right.
I think we have to measure twice, cut once. We got to really focus on, can this last 60 days? Everyone's got inventory. I mean, we've got inventory in all of our stores that can get us through at least the next month.
Right.
Then the question becomes, what do we do? And in my opinion, we can't be price gouging. We can't be starting this crap all over again with, you know, how much is it going to be? And look, we've got some vehicles in the Stellantis line where we've got a Ram truck that's got $6,500 back. And if you got a Ford or a Chevy or a GMC, you get even more.
Yeah.
So can that just take a step in a different direction and not be $6,500, but be $3,500?
Yeah.
It's still competitive. So, you know, we all float to the same tide. If we can just get everybody to just calm down and not get crazy over this, we need to be a little patient, right? Because this too shall pass. And when we get there, we get there. And I think all of the OEMs are going to have to recognize, hey, this is something none of us thought was going to happen, but he kept telling us it was going to happen.
Sure.
So I honestly think that this will evolve into its own way. I don't particularly care for how they're doing it, but who am I to tell? I mean, the government, if you just listen to what's going on, the government's a total disaster. You can't even balance a budget, and they're going to tell to hire more IRS agents to audit the people that pay them, and they can't even audit themselves. It's pretty sad when they don't even know what's going on. And if you listen to this, if you watch that interview with them, the whole Doe's group on Brett Baer at Fox, it was nuts. Yeah. The stuff that they were talking about, Jim, was dramatic. I know. You shake your head. Look, we can't run our stores like that. Right. You can't run your business like that. No, not at all. How are they doing it?
Now you said earlier, this too shall pass. But
yes,
what do you mean by that? Because obviously we knew we were going to get through COVID. It was going to go away eventually, and we're going to find a vaccine or a cure or whatever you want to call it. But in a situation like this, if the 25% tariffs exist, this is a whole new way of life for us, isn't it? When we're already faced with an affordability problem.
Well, we've got a lot of things going. First and foremost, if these interest rates don't get aligned, that's not going to help us. I mean,
that's right.
It's not that they should go back to zero, but even if you talk to people that are in the know, any of these national banks, whether it's B of A or Jamie Dimon at JP, they're all saying 3%, not 4.5%, 5%.
Right.
So if the rates come down 2 points, it's significant, not only for the individual, but for the nation, because they're paying interest on the money that they borrow as well.
That's right.
So we need to be somewhat cognizant of the fact that we can't keep this pace up for very long.
Right.
We've got to find a cure. Now, like you said about COVID, we knew there was a cure coming. There is a cure coming for this. And what is the cure? If you look at this through those rose-colored glasses, they want the message out there. This isn't going to change. It's not going to be. And then all of a sudden tomorrow we could come across and say, oh, well, everybody had a big hug fest and we decided that Mexico and Canada are our friends again.
Right.
I mean, I honestly believe there's going to be an equitable resolution to this. I don't think this lasts very long.
Okay.
And I don't think that our president is trying to put us out of business. But I do think he has to have that message. I think when the dust settles, I really do believe we're going to be able to say, okay, it wasn't what they wanted, but it's a lot better than what it is. And I think we got to gradually get to that. But if it was you or I, and someone was taking advantage of us like that, we would just go to somebody else.
Yeah.
We'd say, I'm not doing business with you anymore. You charge me a nickel and I charge you a penny.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Right. And the argument's also made from the White House that, look, if somebody's out to buy a BMW or a Volvo and they're going to pay another $100 a month for that car, chances are they're going to buy the car anyway. You're not selling these vehicles in large part to poor people, right? I mean,
Jim, it's so expensive today. I mean, the price of Stellantis has been the most aggressive. And just for the record, Jim, we've had, ever since you and I started talking, month over month, we're going to have another great month this month. And yes, I think maybe people may have gotten some concern, but for us, March was amazing. We had 5 Saturdays. Yeah. We had 4 out of the 5 Saturdays break records.
Wow. Do you attribute that, as many dealers have done that I've spoken to, that said there's been people that have said, hey, I'm going to move my purchase forward before this, April deadline, and therefore I don't want to pay, because a lot of people think it's not on the units that are sitting on the ground, and I got to get in there and get my unit so I don't pay 25% more.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I think you could assume it was some of that, because this last Saturday was amazing, right? And so, but to be honest, it was busy at Audi, it was busy at BMW, it was busy at Mazda, it was busy at Volvo. Yeah. And by the way, it was one of the first Saturdays, this Saturday, where we almost went to parity, because we've been doing more pre-owned than we've been doing new. Okay. Because the price of new is so expensive that you can buy pre-owned. Yeah. And so this was the first Saturday that we had that happen. But I think I would like to think that we would solve this sooner rather than later. But I go back to what I said. This too shall pass. Okay. The cure is, I think, the camaraderie that we achieve through this somehow, some way. Yeah. If you look at Mexico, I think she's doing an amazing job, very delicately handling the United States.
The president of Mexico.
Yes, and she's doing a great job. She said we have 1 million people working in automotive. Yeah. We can't shut that down tomorrow.
That's right.
Then you go to Canada, and if you got a person like our president who does what he does, you don't get up there and try to muscle him. We're the greatest economy in the world, and you're trying to tell them Canada's going to be okay without you. Yeah, sure you are. You Canadians are going to. I mean, and Canada's a great country, but what are you doing?
Yeah.
You are trying to muscle the United States. I don't think, how he talks about the cards. You don't have the cards.
That's right.
They're not even at the table. Forget about having the cards. So I think Mexico will come first. I think Canada will come. I mean, you've heard it, Jim. I don't have to tell you some of the stuff that we're doing, the trade. And then, you guys agreed to it in the trade negotiations that you did.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump in his first term, I don't think he really grasped how bad it was.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, he's got a team around him today that is, in my opinion, way more into this entire America first.
Sure.
The last regime he had,
a little soft on that.
You look around at those dudes.
Yeah.
It's not. They're all lifelong politicians.
Sure.
So I think
good point.
And I also think that he's talking about 100% retroactive on bonus depreciation.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? If you have a piece of machinery and you go out and buy something, why not do it now?
That's right.
So that does infuse some of our business. But
no question. No question. Yeah.
Jim, 1979, I opened my first business, a used car lot.
Yeah.
And I've gone through all of those recessions in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s.
Yep.
If someone told us about COVID, we would have laughed at them. And here we are today thinking COVID's the worst thing. And then all of a sudden they pull this out of there.
That's right. That's right.
So I think we will get through this. And I'm pretty confident that between the OEMs and the government, I think we're going to be on the other side of this quicker than not. I don't think this lasts very long.
And better for it, you're saying? In other words, maybe a little bit of concern and pain, but we'll be better on the other side as a result in the industry.
There's always pain before there's gain, right?
Yeah,
you're not going to, whether you're, no matter what it is, you open up the business the first day, you're not making a profit.
No.
So this is like, this is the first go around. I think there is going to be pain.
Yeah.
The question is for how long?
How long?
And how long can we take it? Well, look, if it's 30 days, we have 30 days of inventory in the ground.
Yeah.
But the other thing we all have to understand is the OEMs aren't going to shut down tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop producing vehicles.
Right.
They're going to find a way, just like they find a way to get through the credits when they have to go buy all these credits from Tesla for emissions that they can't meet.
Yep.
So somehow, some way, I think we're going to find a way around this. And I think we'll be proud to say that we got to the other side of this and produced a better situation for the United States of America.
Sure. So just to kind of sum it up, just take a deep breath, dealers, and we're going to get through this, right? This too shall pass.
That's my line. This too shall pass. I think what we need to be careful of is our reputation in all of our communities and all the things we do.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, if you read all these reports lately, if you think of the publics, right? There's not that many publics out there. There's more of us than there are there.
Yeah, of course.
The publics aren't our friends.
Right.
Because they react to the market, meaning the public market, the stock prices, and all those things that can be very manipulative.
Sure.
The independents, the larger groups that are out there, those are the ones that are going to be around, and we need to support each other. The publics are not our friends. They're not there to help anybody. And the things that they do are based on stock value, what the report's going to be for this quarter.
Sure.
We're out there worried about our social obligation to our customers and to our employees.
And to your family. I mean, this is a family asset that's typically left to, the next generation.
Generations.
That does not happen at any public company.
No. And trust me when I tell you, the turnover at those public companies is amazing. And they'll do whatever they got to do. There's like, if we were in business, Jim, and you were the local BMW dealer next to me, and I was saying, we'd have a little camaraderie. We'd work together. We'd help each other.
Yeah.
These guys don't care about anything or anybody. They just are. It's all about them.
Right.
And they, and we've got a very big one happening with us in Boston with, Asbury buying Herb Chambers.
Yeah, of course.
That's a huge deal.
Huge.
Yeah. So right now we have, Group 1 with a bunch of stores. We've got Penske in Rhode Island with a group of stores. And now we're going to have Asbury with a group of stores. And oh, by the way, we've got some other guys with a bunch of stores in our market as well. There's a group of dealers with 5 to 45 stores in our market that that are really good people, and
Yeah.
we need to protect each other and not get crazy. But I think that I speak for all of us, and I think that we will come out of this on the other side.
Good.
And I don't think that we have to worry about, what components and what car, and we can't. I think we'll go through a little bit, but
Sure.
it will pass.
Well, I'm sure that these words coming from you, are going to be very comforting to a lot of dealers out there that are concerned about it. But as you said, this too shall pass, and it is going to be very interesting to see how all of this rolls out, to see what the president can negotiate for the long term. So it's got everybody tied in knots, but I think everyone needs to take a deep breath and have some faith here, right?
So far, I think what he's doing is commendable.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He bleeds the US of A.
Yeah.
And we all should just be respectful of that and say, let him do his job. When you hire a manager and you give him an opportunity to do a position,
Right.
You can't micromanage the heck out of him every day.
That's right.
Why'd you hire him?
Right.
So let's give everybody an opportunity. Take a deep breath. March is going to bring the roses home, so we can carry it forward a little bit.
That's so true. Joe Laham, president of Premier Companies, the very positive Joe Laham. So thank you very much for all of your time. I know, as I said, a lot of dealers will get a lot out of our discussion today. So thanks for joining me on the show. Very much appreciate it. I know you're on a little vacay, so I'll let you get back to it. But this is obviously a very fluid story. So we might be giving you a call later this week to say, jump back on, let me get your take. So
always good for you, Jim. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you for what you do. Thanks
What's
for what you do for our industry too. It's great to have someone like you promoting us and taking care of the things that a lot of us don't even understand. But you've done a lot of really good for us, and very appreciated.
Well, thank you for those kind words. They mean more than you know. So thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.